Welcome back to It Was Never a Phase Cards. We have a lot to talk about in this Pokemon market update. We're going to talk about some all-time highs, some illustration rare buyouts that are happening just to make you guys aware of everything. And let's just jump straight into it because we do have a lot to cover. We're going to start off with the Gengar VMAX. This is the alternate art from Fusion Strike. This card has been moving up pretty big recently. It's up 33% in the past 3 months from 575 up to around 780-ish currently. And lowest listed right now are around, there's a few, only two in the 700 range, and then it's all 800 plus. And if we zoom out right here, you can see that we are at an all-time high on this card. The previous all-time high was at 744 back in February, and a year ago, 317. So it ran up to that 740, cooled back down into the 500s for a while. Now we're seeing it go on another run. Now, what this could be indicating is this may be the start of another Sword and Shield or maybe just Fusion Strike run. As this card starts to get up in value, we may start to see the booster boxes and other products from Fusion Strike start to move. So keep an eye out for that to be happening. We'll update you guys in the future if that stuff starts to move. And then we need to talk next up about some of these illustration rare buyouts that have been happening. And we're going to start off with the Greavard illustration rare 214. This is from SV Base. And this is one of those cards that I actually like this a lot. Ever since I pulled this from SV Base, like at release, it's got the Ghastly rug, the Gengar rug. And I think that Greavard, the Pokemon, is like kind of cool. He's cool enough. But it's kind of the other accessories in this card that really stand out. But we are seeing a buyout that just recently happened on this card. It's up 219% in the past 3 months. And you can see if we go to the 1 month chart, you can see right here, there's a huge uptick in sales right here. October 3rd, 67 copies sold. And then also 37 on October 4th. So that is most of what's driving this price up. Now, keep in mind, there's a few other ones that we're going to talk about when it comes to these illustration rare buyouts. And here's a perfect example of what happens. A year ago, this was a $3, $4 card. There was a previous buyout that happened in February. It ran up to $25, but then look where it came back. It came back down to around $6. So obviously, it set a higher low. It's not a $3 or $4 card. It bottomed out at around $6. But just keep in mind, specifically with a card like this, that when you see these like big upticks, they usually retrace if there's not enough demand to like hold them up. If it's maybe a little bit more popular of a Pokemon, although this one could be maybe a bit of an exception, but that might be a stretch just because it has Ghastly and Gengar. But a lot of the times, using this as an example, if it was maybe a little bit more popular of a Pokemon, it ran up to 25, then maybe it would settle around 15, it just 10, it really depends. So just keep in mind that after a big run up like this, it can kind of set a higher low. But maybe if you have some Greavards, some extra cards that you were looking to unload, that's also the other reason why it's important to bring up some of these illustration rares as they shoot up in value. It's just because, hey, maybe if you want to sell them, it's a good time to sell when they shoot up big. Here's another example. This is the Morpeko illustration rare 206 from Paradox Rift. And this one's up 174% in the past 3 months. It was a $17 card back here. It shot up recently to $50. It's been coming down. It's kind of in the $40 range. You can see lowest listeds right now are actually in the upper 30s. So this is what happens. The prices, tend to move down. Some of these illustration rares, when these buyouts do happen, maybe they were undervalued, at the time, and it brings more attention. And like I said, so higher lows are possible after like some big movement. But you can see September 25th, we had 43 copies sold, and then September 28th, 27. So that's most of what's been fueling this. If you zoom out right here, obviously, we're just coming off of this all-time high at $56, which seems kind of crazy for this Morpeko. It is a nice-looking card. I do like all the colors in it. It's a nice IR. I'm not going to deny it that. A year ago, it was a $10 card. Had a previous run-up in February, March to around 26. And then here's a good example of what I was mentioning earlier with the Greavard, right? It was around $10, shopped to 26, and then look where it bottomed out. Bottomed out around 18. Right? So it did set a higher low. And so after these big run-ups, I don't know where it's going to end up. It could come all the way back to 20. Maybe it does set a higher low. Maybe it becomes a $25, $30 card by the time this is all said and done. We don't know, but it's just nice to make you guys aware of kind of what happens with some of these. And then here's another one. This is a really nice illustration rare from Twilight. I like this card a lot because of the other Pokemon in the background, but this is the Chansey number 187. You got Bellsprout, Psyduck, Ditto, you got a Blissey, and a Snorlax. So this is one of those ones that It definitely would be a little bit more popular, probably hold its value a bit more, but it's up 70, almost 80% just in the past month, up to currently around $44, 148% in the past 3 months. And if you zoom out, we are at an all-time high on this Chansey from Twilight Masquerade. You can see too, go back to the 1 month just for a second. There was a large amount of purchases on September 20th and then also October 3rd. So people are targeting these cards when there's not that many out there, and it is running the price up. A year ago, this was an $8 card. Previous run up ran to 30, then came back down to around 17. Now we're running up to in the 40s and 50s. We'll have to see where it ends up. This one will definitely hold its value better than some of the other ones mentioned. Lowest listeds right now are all right around the $50 range, which is actually above the current market price of $44. So this one's still kind of trending upwards. A really nice illustration rare from Twilight. And then the last IR that I did want to mention is the Chonkster. This is Lechonk number 209 from Obsidian Flames. It's not up as crazy or anything, and just as a side note, I actually really like this card. It's so silly. He just like had his meal and he passed out. I love how like derpy Lechonk is. But anyways, 62% gain in the past 3 months. You can see a huge uptick in sales right here. October 4th, 207 copies sold. That is an absolute, that's a lot. So 50% up in the past month. If we zoom out right here on the 1 year chart, we are not yet at an all-time high. February, we hit $9. A year ago, this was a $2 card, right? So here's another example of the price movement. But also keep in mind too, like the market is like so crazy right now, just like everything has kind of risen in general. So take this like a little bit with a grain of salt. $2 up to $9, then the low was around $4, right? So you guys can kind of like see what's been happening. So that's the Lechonk illustration rare. We got some more fun stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about some Destined Rivals and some Mega stuff in a second. But before we do that, I wanted to talk real quickly about the sponsor of today's video, which is the card centering calculator. If you are newer to grading, you're going to want to be using this app because as you can see in the video that is playing, it automatically detects your card and you can, this works for sports cards, Pokemon, whatever you have. You can go in, zoom in real tight, manually adjust the parameters for the centering. So you will know that if you're like new to grading, you want to possibly grade, you can know that with beyond a shadow of a doubt that at least like, oh, this card is a PSA 9, this card is a PSA 10, whatever you want. Like, so for example, that one was a PSA 9 just based off of the centering or whatever grading company you want. They have all the parameters plugged in right here. You can see PSA, CGC, tag, whatever you're looking for is that's what it can show. So you can know, hey, at least when it comes to centering, this is going to be a 10, right? You don't have to worry about anything else in, you know, maybe the surface, the corners, you can focus on all that later, but you go, okay, well, centering wise, this is a 10 candidate. So it's very helpful. It's one of the best, easiest to use and best centering apps that I've used. So I really like the card centering calculator. I personally use it and it's just really nice. Also too, it can be nice to help, like if you're looking at a card online, even on eBay, you can screenshot, put it right in there, right? So that can be beneficial in that aspect as well. So card centering calculator link will be in the description if you want to check that out. Let's get back to some of these cards that are moving. Now we got to talk about Destined Rivals again. Sorry if you're getting tired about talking about Destined Rivals, but it's a very popular set right now. There's a lot happening. A little bit of an update. So a lot of the big some of the big cards are still moving, like this Mewtwo that we're going to talk about. This is Team Rocket's Mewtwo number 231, special illustration rare. This card has continued to chug up, but what we're seeing right now happen with Destined is a lot of the lower value cards are actually starting to creep up as well. It's very interesting. So we're going to be touching on some of those in a second. But right now, just to give an update on Team Rocket's Mewtwo, the chase card of the set, it's up 38% in the past 3 months. Let's see how much in the past month. 49% just in the past month alone, right? So this card is over $500. You zoom out right here. I think the 6 month will do it. Pre-release 333 went up to almost around 400, then dipped down to 340, and now we're seeing all-time highs currently at $548. So Team Rocket's Mewtwo at $548. There is a few lower listeds here from some sellers who don't have any feedback on TCG Player, so keep that in mind. But then it's all kind of right in that range of that lower to mid $500 range. So I'll have to keep an eye on exactly how high can this Team Rocket's Mewtwo end up going? So it's kind of just been holding at least the last few days recently around that mid 500 mark. So be an interesting one to keep an eye on a little bit more long term. But I wanted to talk about some of these cheaper cards that have been moving. This is the Team Rocket's Meowth, the illustration rare number 203 that we're looking at right now. It is up 40% in the past 3 months. Saw a big uptick right here. It went from $23 up to around $36. It's come down a little bit, around $33, $34 currently, but we're starting to see more of these cards move, like we'll continue to see. The lesser value cards are going up. I'm not sure exactly what's driving a ton of this besides just the general booster boxes going crazy. The PC ETBs are going crazy, stuff like that, which we'll touch on some of that in a second as well. I know for me, I'm trying to master set this. I don't know if that's like a common thing, how many people are master setting a set like Destined Rivals. So it's something that I'm working on currently, and I don't like seeing that these cards are going up so much right now, but it is what it is. This is the current state of the market. Previously, it looks like the previous low on the Meowth was around $23. So it's come up quite a bit, and it's not just the Meowth. We're seeing other cards as well, but since I mentioned that Pokemon Center ETB, let's just touch on that real quick, because this is a product that is moving rapidly. I mean, look at what we've seen in the past 3 months, 103% growth on the Pokemon Center ETB from 185 up to 370 currently. And this is one that's not slowing down. The listed median price on TCG Player right now is $500. So this is going to keep trending up towards this $500 mark. Lowest listed right now, 388 is the lowest listed, so above the current market, which that lines up with the listed median price being higher. This is going to continue to trend up. It'll be interesting when it breaks the $400 mark, just because this is a very new PC ETB still. But yeah, it's just going to continue to trend up. You can see the low point, the low on this after release was around $184 was the low. So pretty much doubling since then. And we'll have to see how quickly this can continue to move. Yeah, it is a nice looking box, although I do kind of think I almost prefer the regular ETB, like the carbon fiber look. But anyways, Destined Rivals PC ETBs are up big. I really wanted to focus more on some of these other cards. Here's a good example. Although this is a really nice trainer card, I think. I like Pichu and Cyndaquil a lot for this Ethan's Adventure, but this is the SIR number 236. This one's starting to see a big uptick. Just in the past month, 22% gain, but 18% in the past 3 months. So if you zoom out, the 6 month low was around $42. Now we're seeing it up into the $60 range. So a little bit of movement on cards like this as well. Not too crazy, but just the fact that it's creeping up into that $60 range, and there's only 23 copies of this card listed. You can see this might start becoming a problem for some of these other cards, like $62, and then it could potentially get up into the 80s if this trend continues on this card. Another card I do need for my master set. So like I said, it's kind of like I like to see Destined Rivals doing well, but I don't want to see it doing this well. It's like a love-hate relationship currently. Then we have cards like Arven's Mabostiff. Now, I don't picture this being, like that popular of a card per se. I think it's just because it's in Destined Rivals right now and there's just not that many copies. Maybe there's a ton of Mabostiff fans out there or Arven fans that I'm not aware of. But 48% gain on this. This is the SIR number 235. It's up 48% in the past 3 months from around $29 up to $43. And so if you zoom out, obviously we're at an all-time high, another all-time high. So these cards just trending up wherever you look, it seems, for Destined Rivals. Cards are trending up. Lowest listeds are pretty much right at 43 and up. So we'll have to keep an eye on this one. This could be starting to get a little bit more expensive into the future as well. Then we have my favorite illustration rare from the set, hands down, is the Team Rocket's Houndoom. And this one's been moving up big percentage-wise. Still not very expensive. Still a lot of copies available, right? 120 plus on TCG Player, but it's up 26% in the past month. So I thought that was worth noting, and 23% on the 3 month. If you zoom out right here, obviously, $24, we are at another all-time high. Team Rocket's Houndoom, number 191, at an all-time high. Lowest listeds right now, if we get past these Korean and Japanese listings, are pretty much, they're maybe a tinge under in the $23 range. So maybe just barely under the current market price. Really underrated illustration rare. That's one I will take to my grave. Underrated illustration rare. Absolutely stunning. And then next up, so that kind of covers it for Destined Rivals. There's some other stuff that's moving in Destined Rivals as well, but I just wanted to touch on like some of those lower dollar stuff that's starting to creep up. Now I want to shift our focus over to Mega Evolution, specifically the gold cards. This is the Mega Lucario, the gold, number 188. And look at what we've seen off release. We saw an initial dip. This is a very expensive card. And just to remind you guys, this is well over $1,000. Not $1,000. It's not to that price yet. Well over 1,000 packs is what I meant to say. 1,000 packs plus to hit a single card. When you factor in that there's two, it's well over 2,000 packs. I think over 2,200 to pull a specific gold card. So if you want to, technically it's 1 out of 2,000 packs to pull this Lucario. And that's why I'm not too surprised seeing this price jump. But out the gate, we saw around 600, 590. It came down to around 540, and now it's starting to shoot up 685. Most recent sale, 718. Lowest listed's all higher than that, 725 and up. It's just going to continue to chug up. There's some sales into the $800 range. And like I said, this is a very, very difficult to pull card from a very expensive, very new, and very popular set. So I'm not surprised in the slightest to see these gold cards shooting up. And look at this low supply. There's only 16 copies currently listed on TCG Player. So we could see these start to shoot up more into the future. It'll be interesting. Obviously, the Charizard, we're getting a gold Charizard for Phantasmal. But I think at least what we know as of now, I think there's only one gold card. It's just the Charizard, right? It is a smaller set. So that one will still be difficult to pull, but not as difficult because of it being two. So anyways, Mega Lucario, we're not talking about Charizard right now. Mega Lucario on its way up, doesn't surprise me. We'll have to see kind of where the ceiling is for these gold cards, where they level out. Obviously, we didn't, just keep in mind, we didn't get our full supply of Mega Evolution. There's still, there was like 60% initial run, and then we're still waiting on 40% to be dropped. So that might be contributing a slight factor. I think it's supposed to be later this month that, the rest of the Mega Evolution should be arriving for those who ordered it. So we could see an influx of these cards, later. But as of now, here's another one. Here's the Mega Gardevoir, 187. There's only 18 copies currently listed on TCG Player. In a very similar chart, it was at $500. It dipped to around 480, and now we're seeing 560. Most recent sale at 600, and lowest listed 650, then 700. So doesn't surprise me at all. They are really nice looking gold cards, and the rarity on these, it's going to dictate this price, especially in this accelerated bull market that we are in right now. It's not a surprise to me in the slightest. So the gold cards from Mega are on the uptick, and then that's all we're really going to touch on for Mega in this video. Then we're going to jump over to some Prismatic. There's just a few cards in Prismatic that I wanted to mention. The Umbreon is on an uptick as well, but we're not focusing on that in this one. I wanted to touch on, this is the Sylveon SIR number 156. Very nice looking card, but it's up 29%, 28 rather, in just the past month alone. So we're starting to see this card finally bounce back. If you look at the 1 year chart, you can see this card with a lot of Prismatic was having crazy prices. It was in the $400 or $500 range for a while until about May. Then after that, it was falling off all the way pretty much to recently. It bottomed out at around 290. And so now we're seeing it bounce off of that price and finally start to come back up. Current market, it's around $385, but looks like it's going to continue to trend up. Lowest listeds are 438 and up, so we'll just call that 440. 440 and up on the Sylveon. So this is another one that's going to continue to trend up in value. Here's a little sneaky one that's on its way moving up as well. This is the Espeon SIR number 155. I like this one a lot as well. I do think that these are some very nice looking cards. You can't deny that from the Prismatic. I think it really trends well with the rainbow borders and stuff, but up 17% just in the past month. So starting to see a bounce on this card as well. Not as crazy. It's just gone from 200 to 235, but you can see a most recent sale right here at 265. Lowest listeds are just a little bit above the current market price. You got some in the 230s, and then it jumps up into the 250s. So I would expect that as we see the other evolutions continue to move up, we'll probably see this Espeon move up over time as well. If you zoom out right here, you can see obviously a similar chart. This one shot up a bit after release, 320 up to in the 400s, and then it's fallen off, bottomed out at around $200. So we're just seeing it come off the bottom, 200 up to back up to the 230s. So another interesting one to keep an eye on. And then we've talked about this card recently a few times, but just a little update to throw it out there. This is the Roaring Moon special illustration rare number 162. It's up. Let's see in the past month how much it's up. 100%, just a measly 100%. Just in the past month alone, it has kind of flattened out a little bit more recently, but 86% in the past 3 months. And then if you zoom out, you can see it dipped off release a little bit from 190 down to 170, shot up big up to 300, came back down to 136, and now we're back up to 300. It's a little bit under technically. You could see somewhere it was like 304, 306. So we're just right there at the cusp of this previous all-time high. However, it looks like this card's coming back down a little bit after this big growth. All the lowest listeds, there's a lot right here actually in the $260 and $270 range. So it looks like the Shinji Konda Roaring Moon may be coming down a little bit in value, just based off of this big movement. That doesn't really surprise me. Once again, it's not exactly the same as the illustration rares that we were talking about earlier, but in general, there's some crossover that does happen after big explosive growth. You know, a level off or like a retrace is not out of the ordinary by any means. So that doesn't really surprise me to see that if it comes back down into the 260s after shooting up. I mean, going from 140 up to 300, and then if it comes back to around 260, that's some pretty healthy growth. Still, the card would still be looking really great overall. I do like this card a lot. I like Shinji. I am a Shinji Konda fan, I will admit, but I also like the art style just of this, and the pose. It gives me Moon Knight vibes. But anyways, that's all we have for you guys in this update. I think we touched on kind of a lot of stuff. I feel like this was kind of a bigger update. There was a lot of stuff that moved over the weekend, and I think it was fun. We have some stuff really to keep an eye on moving forward. Some Sword and Shield, like we mentioned, that Gengar and Fusion Strike. There definitely could be some big movement coming back into Sword and Shield. Things bounce around so much. It was like Destined Rivals was going crazy for like a minute, and then we were like, come back to this. And obviously Destined Rivals, we talked about, still doing good. But it wasn't like, it slowed down a little bit from like that explosive booster box growth. Like booster boxes were hitting like 700 for a second. Now they're coming back down into the 400s. So like stuff's been all over the place. But a lot of illustration rares, a lot of people trying to do target buyouts, stuff like that. And, some of that stuff just undervalued. And then sometimes it just, you get enough attention on it again, and then you see, increased prices. There's some higher lows that end up happening. So I think we covered it all like pretty thoroughly. Hopefully I explained it. If you guys are newer, I try and explain it just in case, because there's a lot of new people who are coming into the hobby every single day, and obviously finding my videos and stuff. So if you are new to the channel and you're not subscribed already, and you're 23 minutes in, you obviously didn't hate me enough to turn it off. So make sure you hit that subscribe button with the notifications on, as I do post every single day. I'll keep you guys updated on the Pokemon market, so you guys don't have to do any of the work. Just tune into the videos, and I'll keep you guys up to date. But that's all I have for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.